TMBC FSP54211. Today we're gonna focus on two parts. We're gonna look at the bi-communal of Algeria, and then we're gonna look at the Sherpa that was led by the minister Ronald Lamola at Cape Town in the Investec. I think it was it funded by them or that, but yeah, they were very quite appreciative of that. Apparently everything in order. So for Algeria, we saw the president in Algeria being welcomed warmly. The main thing that we starting to get close, it is the emphasis and appreciation of Vision 2063 in applying the mandates of Africa and the Global South. We saw President Ramaphosa, the President of the Republic, speaking to his approach to President Tebboune of Algeria, and the stance at which they take, and he has taken towards the development of Africa, the unity of African countries, explaining Algeria's democracy, or rather freedom or independence, that was close to around 60 years which is more than to us, and Algeria being one of those countries that has always been there for the African continent. The main thing that which they emphasized when focusing on Africa, or on the current G20, the president even invited, saying that we would want to have you on the coming G20. They emphasize on the systems of government. If you could know, one of the agendas of the G20, that was the bi-community that we're talking about. There's a strong emphasis on the governance of within the countries amongst the G20s. So they emphasized the system of governance. They emphasized the issue of global finance, them being key players in the issue of global finance. And then they emphasized Vision 2060, the role players within 2063, especially one of the agendas that are in 2063. They are focused on other agendas, of course. Several of those agendas showing the initiative of the G20 approaching Africa, to be specific. We saw them trying to unite and trying to say the problems of Africa can be put together to the problems of the global south. So the G20 can become a solution. You know, we see him being active from the Nigeria by community, together with Minister Lamola. We saw them having an approach to the peace side thereof. Now we see him get close to Minister Taboo with Mr. Tebboune in a different perspective that highlights your amongst other factors, your systems of governance and your global finance. It was a great it is rather a great approach which they took, and we rather foresee that there's going to be a great movie to watch coming on. And we saw Minister Lamola's take in the Sherpa. In the Sherpa, Minister Lamola made an emphasis on the activeness of saying that check as the mandates of, or the stance that was taken of global finance that was taken there by the president in Algeria. They emphasized because it was governors. If you could go look at the people that were there, it was a Sherpa, but a Sherpa that is finance driven. So it is rather interesting to see such a combination, because usually when you look at a Sherpa, you'd expect a different perspective, but it was a Sherpa that was dominated by governors, deputy governors, I mean, a Sherpa by deputy governors. and their role in approaching illicit financial flows. It was very interesting to saying that check in our plight, or in our struggle to saying that we want to rebuild our economy, saying that we want to make these countries come together in the midst of contradictions to the international community or other trade partners, whatever that's happening. But we realize that for South Africa alone, there's around 88 billion that we're sitting and we're losing, because of these kind of illicit financial flows. It was good seeing them make it to that particular extent. When you're saying that you are approaching a Sherpa, your logic would be expecting your heads of state and their approach towards the manner. You'd want them to treat it in an holistic or in a combined manner that would rather. So for me alone, it was very interesting to seeing the Sherpa being, but if you're saying it from a Reserve Bank perspective, because you'd want it to saying, when you're saying a Sherpa, you'd want it but maybe it was my view alone. And then you saw the deputy governor there. Maybe it was, and then you saw the minister of international trade there. So it was great seeing them. And then the same, the Reserve Bank and their initiatives in approaching illicit financial flows, trying to bring back the economy as so you'd realize that that is an active stance at which they're taking to build or bring back the economy, and rather getting the nation back to its stance and the G20. I don't know, it's my logic, but it's very interesting, and we hope to see more. It's still, it's still fresh in the week. We still 2 days, 2 days only have went past, and this is the progress that we've made. The week is still to continue, and hopefully there's these greater developments that would be going. But for this, it has reflected a lot. Tembisile, we would see more by the conclusion of the G20 at the end of the week. Tembisile, FSP 54211.